So today on the podcast, we have Pierre Beaulieu.
Yes.
He's the head of strategic sourcing for JLL Canada. Pierre, I'm excited to have you on today.
Excited to be here.
Can't wait to chat.
Yeah.
So, Pierre, we're going to focus a little bit on, your journey, how JLL operates, life at JLL, industry trends, and even a little bit of career advice for, young professionals coming up that may look up to someone like you.
Thank you. Yeah. Good to be here. For those who don't know me, I'm Pierre. I'm the head of strategic sourcing for the Canadian market for Jones Lang LaSalle. Mm-hmm. I support all the work dynamic divisions. So career, I've worked in banks, I worked in retail, and I worked in facility management. So really excited to be here.
Brilliant. I can't wait. So before we get into, the industry, I'd love to hear more about your personal journey, how you got here and the moments that shaped your path, essentially. Before this, you told me about you have some interesting stories to share, right?
Yeah.
So I can't wait.
So, I have a funny story just to get here this morning. So this afternoon, it's took the bus, and unfortunately, the bus on the worst possible day got so hot, no AC. So excuse everyone. It's probably like. They said the temperature is 116 today, felt. So it's the hottest I've been in a long time. Interesting journey. I did a bachelor degree in marketing, and I've been heavily involved in kind of the analytics, risk management, and grew from there into relationship management of service providers.
Take me back to the beginning of your career journey. What were the sort of early roles, the decisions, things that led you to where you are today?
I think when I started my career, environment was a bit different. Computers were kind of new in the workplace, right. Which it seems like 500 years ago, but no, it's not that far. And I had an affinity for computers and working with Excel and starting creating reports and analysis. So it was quickly a game of tag, you're it. You're going to make all the reports for this department and so on. And then so it grew into this role of operational risk management, which was reporting risk, flagging the risk for the organization. At the time, I was working in National Bank, right. Big financial institution in the Quebec market. Yeah. So worked there and started measuring performance of teams, which then grew into a finance role and ended up being a role in performance overall of both the organization, the departments I was supporting, and performance of suppliers. So this was in the midst of the 2008-2009 financial crisis, which is fantastic. So at that point, I was focusing more on my studies. I did a master's degree, an MBA. And afterwards, traveled a bit and got back into performance management for a service provider in facilities. Right. And so this gave me an opportunity to grow within another financial institution, Bank of Montreal, where I'll call it learn the ropes of facility management and how to manage the performance of those suppliers. Really liked this environment and had an opportunity to grow, but on the other side of the table. So at CBRE, right, which is a real estate service provider, right? So supporting large organizations. So it's really kind of I'll call it a journey. Like the journey is consistent, the organizations are not, and it's not because they're not good organizations. It's just the type of roles led me to this facility management industry.
Right. So tell me a little bit about that. Like you mentioned, CBRE might be a properties.
Yeah, CBRE. I'm at JLL now. Yeah. Fantastic organization.
What's the difference between the two? Is more my question.
Well, one, the grass is green, the other one's red. But
Right.
no, but seriously, I think both have their, I'll call it their competitive advantage. I feel like I speak better for JLL right now because I've been there for 4.5 years.
Absolutely.
Fantastic culture, really happy on how the team is set up. And we've been, I'll call it like it's a we culture of, it sounds tacky usually, the culture is great, but how do you measure that, right? And while the culture is great because it's the culture of the organization, it can't really be replicated anywhere else, right? So it drives this behavior where we have, I'll call it global accountability, right? So we're not, okay, there's been a problem, how are you going to solve it? No, it's there's a problem, how do we solve it, right?
That's
so
incredible.
there's no there's accountability on the teams, but not necessarily on the individuals, which then foster an environment, like I'll call it a safe environment where everyone feels that they can, bring their innovation, bring their perspectives, and make sure that we have something in place. So
that's incredible.
that's good.
On my way here, I was listening to the Commercial Real Estate Podcast. I think it's First National that does it.
Okay.
They were interviewing, or they were talking to Alan McKenzie.
Yes.
I don't know if he's still the CEO. The one I watched was from 2020, so I may be a little outdated.
No. He's still there, alive and kicking. He's our Canadian CEO.
Right. I found his words quite inspiring, actually. He talked about the culture at JLL, and that was actually one of the things I wanted to ask you a bit about. He talked about, he talked about 3 pillars: trust, communication, and collaboration, right?
Yes.
And those sort of really resonated with me.
And you can only have those when you have this environment that you're fostering, that it's kind of, I'll call it like a safe space, right?
Yeah.
Like it's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to try and fail, and you'll get the support of the team because we're all trying to make it better, right? So
that's brilliant.
yeah.
So tell me about, you mentioned you started your career not even your career at that point. You went to a marketing degree.
Yeah.
And then you went to an MBA.
Oh, yeah.
After that.
So I would tell you, when you finish your bachelor degree, it's always good to get some work experience first. Don't do back-to-back degrees because a lot of the master's degree is really about lived experience, right? So if you're saying, well, how would you manage this type of project? Well, if you never did those type of projects, it's really hard to be successful within your getting the best value of your degree. And it's also difficult for your team members who have 4, 5, 6, 7 years of experience and have done this multiple times.
So did you enter the workplace before you went to your MBA, or you just went straight in?
Oh, no. So I did bachelor degree. I worked almost like 6 years.
No way.
And then
you went back in.
Then went back in.
Wow.
It's interesting. You finish your high school degree and it's like, okay, fine, I'll go to college. And okay, fine, I'll go to university. And started working, and then you feel like a dropout because it seems that everyone was getting their masters at that point. It's not that everyone's getting masters, it's just the people around you are getting masters, and you feel like the entire population has that level. So I ended up going for my masters at that point.
Right.
So
I mean, that must have been pretty, would you say that was transformational? Tell me about, what moments in your career have been sort of the most pivotal or transformational? Any sort of turning points or challenges that sort of shaped your leadership style today?
Yeah. There's many. I mean, it's an ongoing journey, right? So I don't want to say, there's been one moment. There's been key moments recently where was an interesting vote of confidence from other consultants other individuals within the organization where, I explain a process to a client, and the client says, well, why would I trust you to do all that you said that, you can do?
Yeah.
And the client got cut out by someone within the firm to say, just to let you know, I whenever I bet against Pierre, I lost.
No
so I would encourage you to not bet against his advice. So big vote of confidence.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right in the meeting, I did not see that one coming. And the client says, that's a really good point. And then they kept on going. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm not, saying that this is because I'm always right. It's quite the opposite. But it's really to make sure that we have, a specific approach, a methodology. Mm-hmm. There's a method to the madness. Right. And because of that, the outcome has been very successful for both JLL and for the clients.
Right. Brilliant. So tell me about that relationship, the relationship between JLL and its clients, and also your role within that. What do you do for the clients?
Oh, I show up at meetings, and shake hands, right? No, but seriously, a lot of the approach from a strategic sourcing standpoint is how do we help clients transform both their workplace so that it's more efficient to their end goal as an organization, or it's because we're trying to make sure that we have, strategic optimization of their process, right? I can give examples during COVID. Why are you picking up the trash 5 times a week when there's no one in the office, right? So optimizing process and focusing where there's a need at that time, right? So you have to adapt the services provided to the delivery of service and the outcome that the client's looking for.
What makes someone successful in a company as large and as sort of fast moving as JLL? Are there any sort of habits or approaches that sort of set high performers apart?
Yeah, so I would say, if we're talking to young professionals, it's really focus on key activities that are really the key activities and key focus of your management, right? I've worked sometimes a year-long project, really put in the hours, and I get a good job at the end, right? It's like, all right, good job. Yeah, you worked on this. And then you worked 15 minutes on something for the right person at the right time, and then you get praise and recognition, and then that moment kind of created the image, cement the image with those individuals. This is the person I want on my team, right? So key moments, and you're like, I just worked 15 minutes on this and I get tons of recognition. And the other thing, I worked a year. So it's really making the priority for things that are important, not necessarily to yourself, but important to your leadership. And then that really helps.
I'm interested to hear a little bit more about that. Do you have something in mind that you've actually done? You've spent 15 minutes that actually was a key driver that you saw.
Many times where, you create a report, just as part of a reporting structure, you have key performance indicators, and I'm just tracking this on the side there, and not necessarily showing everyone or like displaying to the world, but just for analytics on how performance of suppliers were. And some executives walks in, oh, do you have the KPIs? Sure. And then that person got super big praise for delivering this on point and right away as the client wanted. And says, shared the recognition with the rest of the team, including myself. And so
that's brilliant.
It's not necessarily that what I did took me 15 minutes. It's the last activity of the entire process, being ready, being proactive, looking into like new approach, making sure that we have top performing vendors, and how do we measure this? And then we only see like the 15 minutes at the end, but that's for that 15 minutes they got the recognition, but you really need, to align yourself to the values of the organization.
So tell me a little bit more about that. You sort of sit at the center of vendors, operations, and sort of the strategic value creation side, right? I want to explore that a little further. So tell me, what do you look for in a new vendor, service provider? What sort of makes somebody stand out when they're pitching to JLL?
Yeah, so it really depends on the services, right? Usually what helps in, I'll call it, there's the technical evaluation and the pricing evaluation. For sure, I'm going to tell you, lowest pricing, highest quality, that's what we're looking for, of course.
That's sort of the mecca.
Right, that's kind of the high end point. But the reality is looking someone that's going to be, I'll say, caring and attentive, right? We're not client number 675 on your list. We're client number 1. Even if we are client 675, make us feel like client number 1, right? Number 1. Key escalation process. So if I have a problem, I call you. If I have a bigger problem, I call your boss. So if you have like a structure like this already predefined, there's always going to be a problem somewhere. I mean, you can't help it. But if you have a good mitigation plan for when those events happen, and then the third one is being proactive in the sense of proactive of cost efficiency. So I'll give you an example. If you notice that, we talked about cleaning. So if you're cleaning an office and you notice that they're just 4 days a week in the office, yet we're paying you 5 days a week. Well, listen, if we reduce the workload for this team, we can do it 4 days a week for cleaning, focus the cleaning on key items, and then it's going to help you save money. So being proactive in that sense, but not necessarily reducing your, I don't want to say reducing your profit margins, but it has to be a win-win, right? Win-win-win. So win for the supplier, it's reducing his costs. Perhaps he needed 2 part-time resources to do those 5 days, and it cost him a fortune to have the second person administratively. Win for the firm, which is reducing costs for our clients, and win for the client, which is reducing their costs, right? So everyone's winning in this equation. So those type of approach and proactiveness to share, that's what's really helpful as a suppliers.
So sort of proactively looking for ways to improve your business and efficiency in a sense.
And be aligned to what are the goals and objectives of the client, right? If it's that the floor is super shiny, then make sure the floor is super shiny. If the objective is that you have like a good HVAC system and the AC is working full blast on a hot day like today, make sure that those type of things are put in place, and just making sure that you're aligned with the end client's goals, right?
Do you find a lot of variance between what the end client actually focuses on? Like, will you find one, like you mentioned a few things there, right? One wants floor shiny, one wants the HVAC system. Are there some sort of key areas that almost every client looks at, or is it specific to every client?
I'll say, and we're fortunate at JLL to be segregated into verticals, right? So there's type of industry that are looking for certain type of services and certain levels of services, right? So if you're looking at a facility management for, a life science client, well, the HVAC system is beyond your wildest dream, right? You have to have clean rooms. Just switching some of the filters are tens of thousands of dollars, right? And then you have more like warehouse type clients, which are more part of industrial vertical.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening is the statement of work is a bit different as well, right? So you don't need, there might be dust in the air. You don't need like super clean floors under your pallets.
Right.
But you need to have overhead doors that open and close right away, on time, every time.
Right.
You need to have snow removal is a must because the trucks won't be able to get in and out.
Right.
So focus is different, right? So depending on the industry, focus is different, and depending on the client, focus is different, right?
So it's more so the bigger things within the industry verticals, and then the client-specific needs.
Correct.
From there.
Yeah.
Right. So what would you say separates, a great vendor from an average one?
I mean, aside from good and great performance, client satisfaction, alignment to the values, making sure that, sustainability is part of the equation, long-term sustainability. So not just, reducing a bit of your paper or reducing, cleaning products, but also making sure that, we're taking care of the environment, we're taking care of the people, and that, we're helping our clients and ourselves be successful in the long term, right?
So looking at the overall big picture.
Looking at the overall, not cutting costs for cutting costs, right? We want to make sure that, all the employees have training opportunities, growth opportunities within their supplier structure. So that's also important. But those are more, I'll call it the values, right?
Yeah.
There's kind of this key check box of we have efficient cost control, we have excellent performance delivery, and then you can have access to all of the other things, which to me are the ones that are bringing value and demonstrate those value to our clients.
I know I'm touching a bit much on vendors, but I have, a few vendor specific questions. That's that's your wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
It's very interesting. From my perspective, I am, a vendor. So to see or to have someone like you on the other end, I love to hear the perspective of, what are you looking for from someone like myself, right?
And so I'll give you kind of an example because it's a large organization.
Yeah.
There's lots of entry points that end up either going back to sourcing, or sourcing might identify an opportunity, but it might not translate into an actual contract in the next 3 months, right?
Right.
I always give the example of the firm being a large boat, right? Like a big cruise boat. We're going down a path. It's really hard for a cruise boat to turn left, right, right? Like it takes a lot of time. But once it starts, then it can't be stopped, right? So I give the example of a supplier where they reached out to me. They had a great proposition, good cost effectiveness. We just didn't have the type of client that fit their profile. Right. So I really like you, but I don't have an unlimited bank account to just spend money with suppliers just in case.
Absolutely.
So what ended up happening is we kept in touch. We had a touch point about discussing about industry trends and making sure that they keep us abreast of all new innovation in the market. And out of a sudden, we had the right client that fit that type of profile. We invited them to an RFP. They were successful. And overnight, we became like 60% of their business.
No way.
And to this day, they're still doing business both with CBRE and JLL, and they've been recognized as kind of supplier of the year, the other side of the equation. So it's really like a good growth story success.
Right.
So really happy for them. But this journey to we have all those services, to let's sign a contract was about 2 years,
Wow.
right? So it's worth the investment, but not always. So we'll make sure to share kind of our perspective and to be very honest with the suppliers. Like at this point, there might not be an opportunity, but that doesn't mean there's no opportunity forever.
Absolutely.
There's always, new type of clients, new type of services, new innovation that, could mandate to relook at that category.
Right. So that's interesting because that kind of rolls into my next question. Tell me about how you sort of, view the long-term partnerships with your vendors. What takes a vendor from moving from, sort of just a transactional vendor, something you need to do day to day, to more of a strategic partner in the long term?
Many things. But so we have internal programs that are helping our supplier base. We do have what I would call probably around, just in the Canadian market, we have close to 5,000 suppliers, right? So not all 5,000 suppliers can be strategic partners, right? Okay, there's a limit of the bandwidth of our team. Yeah. So what we do is we have a number of programs. We have strategic partner program. We have alliance management program, which are more to help key service provider delivering great service to our key clients, our strategic. So they're really strategic partners. So those strategic partners, we have, I'll call it enhanced vendor management with them. So we have quarterly business reviews, we have monthly operational calls, we have overall performance review, and we have innovation sessions. So all of those sessions multiplied by the number of key strategic partners is a full-time job. But I think, but at the end, it drives better value and better outcomes for our client because they're better aligned with our client needs. Then it puts them in a more strategic partnership.
Brilliant. So we can move a little bit away from the vendor side now. Sure. Let's talk a little bit more about. I want to talk about the industry and sort of the shifts shaping the future of, facilities and real estate as a whole. So I guess, my first question on that would be, what sort of macro trends do you think will have the biggest impact on facilities management and even the commercial real estate space in the next 5 years, 5 to 10 years, let's say?
Yeah, and I'll speak more from a, sourcing perspective and facility management perspective. AI, I think it's an overused word, but it's still something that will be part of our future and our everyday life coming up. Whether it's, analytics, predictive maintenance, it doesn't need to be kind of the fancy ChatGPT, right? It could just be an analytics tools that works in the background, like an agentic AI that works in the background and notice that an HVAC has too much vibration or consumes too much energy for the type of temperature that the output is, right? So just having those, I'll call it basic AIs, will help mitigate costs, future repairs, energy consumption. Maybe it's just a filter that's blocked, right? So we've seen some units that, they wanted to make sure that the temperature is 21 degrees. So it puts like a 15 degree AC and then it puts like a 26 heat and then both are going at the same time. So it's 21, right?
No way.
Rather than just having like half of the AC on, right? Yeah. So just mitigating those type of system behavior, helping with the energy consumption. I think what's good about facility management is as long as there's facilities, there's facility management, right? So, and it's not necessarily linked to a specific type of asset, right? So you can talk about malls, you can talk about distribution centers, hospitals, schools, office towers, retail business like banks, bank branches, and so on. So,
what are some of the things that JLL is doing in that side of things? I know that you guys put a lot into technology, right?
Oh yeah. We even have, I call it a portion of the organization that is just JLL technology. It's called JLLT.
Right.
We have, I would say, in the real estate space, one of the most advanced, capabilities in terms of current software, future software, agentic AI that we're developing that are specific to the real estate industry. So really, really at the forefront of all this. And it's interesting because I've been to conferences recently where, you see organizations that are going to try out to see what they can do with large language models and so on, so forth. And I'm like, well, we've been doing this for a year and a half. Like, what are you talking about, right? So I think we've been really engaged. They've been good in communication within the organization. It's still a large organization, right? We're talking 115,000 employees. On promoting the use of agentic AI and large language model like ChatGPT, we have JLL GPT, but it's internal to the organization. So the ones that you can see in the public, you type something in, it goes into the ether of that ChatGPT. This one stays internal, so it doesn't leaks to the outside world.
Right. So it's more specific to what you do and very much secure.
Yes, it's a secure environment, and it's been constantly updated with the latest and greatest models. So yeah, really happy about this. So as a trend, I think it's important to look at type of facilities that you want to support and leveraging technology as much as possible. So those are kind of two key features that's going to happen over the next couple of years.
That's brilliant. How have you seen that impact your day-to-day or the things that you and your team are working on?
That's a good question. So I would say it creates... So it's not so much, reducing staffing. It's more about creating efficiency and allowing the team to be more productive, right? So I'll give an example where we wanted to negotiate with a supplier. We typically, before we go into a negotiation, we have a negotiation briefing to see what we're going to be talking about, what our leverage that we have with that supplier, what's our walkaway price, and what's a win-win scenario that looks for everyone. And then now you can use ChatGPT to help you out on establishing your levers of negotiation, have rebuke to your negotiation levers and how to rebuke those negotiation levers. Helps us draft RFPs, helps us read RFPs, right? So I'll give an example where we ask suppliers for tons of information. And so this used to be either captured manually or, I don't want to say read quickly, but so I give an example of large markets that we do. So snow removal is a good example where it's typically a fragmented industry. There's a number of suppliers that are within the industry. So if you're doing a countrywide RFP, you're going to invite like 100 service providers, right? At the same time. And not everyone's going to have coverage for the entire country. It's very region specific and so on. But if you're asking, and you should be asking, their health and safety policy. Well, some of them are going to have like 10, 12 page, 15, 25 page health and safety policy and procedures and protocols, right? So times 100, that's 250 page for just one question in the RFP.
Right.
So now that you have those models, well, they can help you summarize this information, and so you can have a better evaluation technique,
Right.
and then ask precise questions to the suppliers when you're talking to them, instead of spending a week reading all the documentation that everyone is providing.
So your team is now able to essentially look at more, for lack of a better term, like high IQ tasks, like focus on discerning the information as opposed to just having to sift through a bunch of words.
And it kind of, I'll call it, help greatly with communication skills, communication styles. I started seeing emails from my employees that are sending to myself. I hope this message finds you well.
Oh yeah,
so I know that some ChatGPT was involved in there, so it makes me smile. But it helped with communication skills.
Right.
It helps. I'll use myself as an example. It really helps me in my communication skill with both I'll call it the market, the clients, internal stakeholders, right? So I used to write big paragraph emails, and I'm saying to ChatGPT, well, I say ChatGPT, but I mean JLL,
whatever,
internal systems. Say, I'm sending this to the CEO.
Right.
The CEO has 20 minutes during his day. He's expecting me to send this message. Your request to the system is really like a paragraph, a story to give context.
Yeah.
And then please rewrite my email in that format.
Yeah.
So then I rewrite the email. It's exactly the same message I was saying, but it seems like better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's always this little nudge over, and so it helped me. It's actually the system trained me, so that now I'm writing email in a more efficient, to the point message.
Yeah.
And I put the same spiel over and over again. And the changes that it started making on my text are less and less, or specific words. So now that means that, I'm re-changing the way I write my emails because of that, which is
so
great.
It's actually helped you become a better communicator in a sense, just in your own writing.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And it helps, it's kind of a echo chamber. Listen, this is my audience. This is who I'm going to be talking to.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to say. Does that make sense? And say, it's really good at picking without emotions. Right?
Yeah.
So it's going to tell you, question 3, you're not answering the question.
Right.
If you want to answer the question, this is what you should say.
Yeah.
And so there's still the human element that, I know I'm not answering the question, but it's on purpose.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll see how things are evolving in that space. But it's been a great tool overall for both myself and my team.
Yeah, that's amazing. It sounds like you guys are really utilizing it to essentially improve the lives of the end client, right?
Yeah,
and even your team.
It's like I see it as we're talking early in my career where people were just having a computer for the first time, and they were getting a desktop, and then the vice president would get laptops, and it can only bring success to the people who are using it in this maximized way.
So it's kind of bringing you closer together in a sense, as opposed to creating a divide.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's been helping in reading contracts, making sure that we're aligned with our key performance indicators. I mean, it's just making us better at what we're doing as a team.
Right. Tell me a bit more on the industry side. A lot of things have been changing recently, right?
Oh yeah.
Tell me, how has that been changing your tenants, not necessarily your tenants, but your clients' perspectives, how they're looking at things, and how has that changed, the expectations and the way the buildings are managed and maintained?
Yeah, so it changed. A lot of things change, I would say, post-COVID.
Right.
And now we'll talk about post-world, without getting into politics, but the geopolitics have changed quite dramatically over the last 6 months.
Yeah,
right.
A lot's changing every day.
Lots of change, good or bad. I mean, to each his own. But what's important in all of those politics and those changes is resiliency, right? So it's building resiliency within the system. It's making sure that we have we're able to adapt to change, right? So if there is let's say a tariff on aluminum, right, how are we going to react to it, right? Are we going to have kind of a panic moment, or no, we have a plan, this is what's going to happen, here's how we're going to mitigate that situation. It's still going to cost more, but at least we have a plan for it so that it doesn't cost as much as if we had no plan.
Right. So you're seeing it affect more how you react to it more than what's actually coming at you in a sense.
Yeah, because and this is where, during COVID, as an example, you would think that you cut your cost in half because there's no one in the building. When in fact, some categories, we quadrupled our costs because there was no more staff. Like no one would do those jobs.
Right.
There'd be like enhanced cleaning protocols, right? So if someone walks in the office and starts coughing in the elevator, then everyone's going to get sick regardless of the floors, how clean the floors are, right? So now you need a
team for that. And
you need a team for cleaning the elevators and team for cleaning every single surface, because we have to recall that at the beginning of the pandemic, we had no idea, like, how is it transmitting? Is it on every surface? How long does it stay? Like, so just in case, you Lysol everything, right?
Cross all the T's.
So that cost a lot, right? Yeah. So, and then we gained efficiency. We learned more. We adapted to a new structure, and we came back to some sort of normal. But that, I think, that pandemic in itself built resiliency within the system. So even our clients now, some of our clients are returning to office. Some of our clients are remote forever. Some of our clients never got to be remote to begin with, right? So, but it's really build the resilience in the system. Make sure we have supplier 1, 2, 3, 4 for every type of problem codes, and it's been helpful so far.
Right, that's brilliant. So how have the recent changes been affecting the way you work? Like, what has been changing in your day to day?
A lot of it has to do with. It's a tough question because my day to day, I guess I got the benefit and the curse of having worked pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, right? So I've been involved in day-to-day operation before, and we're working 5 days a week from the office. And I joined JLL kind of the tail end of the pandemic. So I started remote. I worked full-time remote, and most of my team is remote as well. And so it's kind of counterintuitive. Why are you remote in your real estate company? You should be promoting real estate. And
the perspective is very much
so
hard.
You have to look at it from a perspective of cost, efficiency, and relationship management, right? If we're increasing our clients' costs because they need to give us seats for real estate, or if we're looking at client overall portfolio strategy, what are they looking? And at that point, I would say you should talk to our consulting team. They're fantastic about this to, look at a portfolio strategy holistically, so not necessarily at specific buildings. And so if there's optimization of the portfolio because your return to office policy has been mitigated, you only have 40% of your staff coming back, then why occupy like those 50 floors? Just take 20 and then stack everyone back into those 20 floors, right? And you'll get better collaboration. I think it also helped, at least I'll speak for myself, also help focusing the type of task, right? So when I go to the office, it's for a purpose. When I stay home, it's also for a purpose, right? So if I'm going to the office to go into a little cubicle that's quiet to go on conference call with people who are not in that office, then I'm just going to stay home, right?
Absolutely.
But if I'm there to meet people in person, I'm here, hey, we're going to have a work session. Let's bring everyone in. And if we're here to foster collaboration with other departments, then it makes sense to be in the office, right? So it really and we've been fortunate that we've been, I'll call it granted, but this freedom and responsibility of make sure that, when there's key events that you need to be there in person, you're there in person.
Absolutely.
And if you're just doing heads down work, I'm doing employees evaluations all day and making sure that we have all their career path mapped out. Then I do this at home, right? It's focus, downtime. Let's be concentrated on this. So I think you can find a mix of both, but it's different by individuals. So
your role, in here, all the different things you do is quite dynamic in a sense, right? You're going from client-facing, focusing on what the strategy may need to be, all the way down to looking at your team and how they progress and all that. Tell me more about that side of it. That's interesting.
Yeah, well, that's what makes it interesting, right? If I just do one thing every day, it'd be long days, right? At least it's for me, it's the type of person I am. But it's also what makes it exciting. I mean, there's a lot, like the Canadian market for large organizations sometimes is an important market, but it's also, it's very specific, right? So I think my manager would tired to hear me say, well, in Canada it's different, but it is different, right? And we've started seeing that more and more. There's more of a nationalistic perspective these days, and so we started seeing this more and more. But it's also on cultural approaches. One of the key programs that we've launched recently is focus on Indigenous engagement. Right? We've been engaging. We've been doing it for a number of years now. We did our progressive Aboriginal relations program, which changed the acronym to PAIR. I'm still learning that acronym by heart now, but it's just to kind of both educate ourselves on how to engage and make sure that we engage it in a respectful manner, but it also helps us question ourselves on how we approach various things. So when we're looking at supplier diversity, when we're looking at Indigenous engagement, when we're looking at our approach with suppliers that we talked about, and the culture that we have within the organization. Those are kind of key factors that makes it interesting day to day.
Right. Okay. I've been seeing quite a bit of the you post a bit about that on LinkedIn and everything, right? Yeah. Tell me more about the the Indigenous program that you guys have been working on.
Yeah. So soon to be published.
Right.
But we've been working on a number of programs within the organization. We've made a commitment so that we're focused on it. I don't know the English word that I'm looking for this, but I'll use focused.
Right.
But it's something that, intentional. This is what I'm looking. So intentional about our Indigenous engagement. This is really something that the organization has committed dollars, but also energy. So we have people full-time working on this. We think it's important from not only an enterprise perspective, but a cultural engagement perspective, right? Like we've been on treaty lands since beginning of our times. So might as well respect it and acknowledge it and go from there. Right?
So doing your part to give back to the community and.
Well, yeah, it's giving back to the community, but it's also leveraging their expertise, right? There are markets where, we're close to Indigenous nations and First Nations, and they have better expertise than we do, right? So why don't we leverage their expertise? Why don't we leverage their communities and make sure that they have opportunities to grow within our supplier base, within our employee base, and it's a win-win-win. Right?
I've been looking at JLL a lot recently, right? And one thing, to me anyway, that was very surprising, not necessarily surprising, but impressive, is as a company, it seems that you guys are very much focused on the people and the culture around the people, and more so than the actual assets themselves. You're focused on really building great people, and building great assets will sort of come from that. It's kind of my perspective, how I see what you guys do.
Correct. And I would tend to agree with this. I think like it's kind of a people's first type of organization, and our CEO repeats it, and usually you say, "Oh, the CEO said this." No. It's for real.
He means it.
He means it for real, and it transpires within our organization. It's really, people first, right? Like we want our team members to come back home the way they got to the office, right? So health and safety is important. We want to make sure that we foster a culture of inclusivity, right? So how do we include everyone within our organization and our supplier base and the communities that we're serving? So there is this messaging and this intentional messaging that's transpiring within the organization and is appreciated by our clients, right? Because there's this dedication from our team members to delivering excellence throughout.
Oh, that's incredible. I love it. So I guess I'll go back to, more on the industry and the trends. Tell me, what does a smart building mean to you, and how is JLL helping buildings become smarter and more efficient?
Smarter, yeah. Well, there's, I think you can have 20 people here who will have 20 different definitions of what a smart building is, right? But for lack of a better word, I'll call it like a digital twin, right? So having enough information about the buildings so that you can create a digital twin of the existing asset.
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah. So you can run programs. You can look at, I'm going to retrofit like floor 17.
Right.
How's that impacting the rest? Can I reroute the HVAC and reroute the flow of air and so on? There's engineering teams that are better suited than me to answer like specifics on this, but those are kind of example. We had buildings, we had suppliers that are scanning entire buildings, right? So they walk in, but they walk in at multiple stages so that you can see essentially behind the walls, right? Because they scan the entire building. When there's just the structure, then the cabling is in, then the walls are in, so that you can like peek through the walls and see exactly where pipes are, because and then you can then compare it to what you have in the plan and see all the deficiencies and discrepancies there, right?
So that's insane. You guys are going past, just regular drawings and blueprints. You're actually modeling the entire building and looking in.
And we have softwares that, again, when we talk about JLLT, it's not just like AI. It's a suite of software, right? So, and it's not just softwares. And this is what I like at JLL is a lot of softwares are, JLL is agnostic to whichever company. It's just making sure we have the right company for the right client, right? So not all softwares are good for every client, and then some softwares are more, you can load up all your furniture, you can load up, and then you can position it throughout the floors. Then it's going to tell you how much it costs for the furniture, how many people you can have within that floor space, where the sun angle is going to come in, and what the noise levels are going to be depending on the type of furniture you have, right? So and cost per square foot for carpet and so on, right? So you can go to the nth level like this. And then you have also like the system management part, right? So you have how do you manage your HVAC, how do you manage your energy efficiency, and then we help a lot of our clients. It's not necessarily say, oh, you need all this. It's what's the return on investment for what you're putting into dollar-wise into that building, right? And it links back to your portfolio strategy. How long am I staying in this building? Am I leasing this building? Is it worth making the investments? In 3 years, I'm out of there, right?
So you're able to actually model it and show your client, what is sort of the highest impact and highest ROI.
Oh yeah.
For the different.
Well, not me. Like the teams that are working on this.
JLL as a whole.
JLL as a whole, yes.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
So. I mean, you mentioned some of this stuff about, sustainability and culture and that kind of stuff. But tell me how JLL is embedding sustainability into sourcing and operations. Is this client-driven, regulation-driven, or is this truly value-driven from JLL?
All of the above.
Right.
So clients have specific mandates, so it varies by clients.
Yeah.
There is legislation that is in place for depending on the industry, and it's also value driven from JLL. It's something that we have sustainability teams to help getting certain sustainability certification within buildings, which then brings better value and better rent and outcomes for society in general, right? But we also have like from a sourcing perspective, sustainability is part of our RFPs requirements, right? So win or lose points for this, right? But toxicity level, it goes to the toxicity level on cleaning products and how sustainable they are, and how depending on the mandate that we have, sometimes it has to be Green Seal certified, it has to be sustainable in nature, it should be like all chemicals are traceable to a certain source. There's depending on the client, and or low allergens. Like there's a number
of things.
You name it, we got it, right? So, but it's important to capture this information, and sometimes this is where innovation from suppliers come, right? So we're looking, I'll give an example of sustainability. There are two examples. One was cardboard management, right? So I got the privilege of working in retail environments, and they have a lot of cardboard. And so, and even some of our clients have a lot of cardboard. So it costs a lot to recycle, and there's like, they have truckloads, so it's a 50-foot truck with tons of pallets full of cardboard, bale cardboards. So they used to pay for someone to pick up those pallets, and then it takes a lot of space and so on. And so they were paying so that this goes into the recycle bin. Then we started saying, as sourcing, why don't we sell the cardboard?
Right.
And now we started getting revenues
from what used to cost you.
What used to cost you, right? So if you go to $100,000 revenue from $100,000 cost, you're essentially saving $200,000 to the organization, right? And on top of that, you're helping not half of this stuff going into,
landfills or wherever.
Landfill somewhere, or getting burned to make cement or something. It's actually reused. So because the manufacturer, the recycling has an incentive because they had to pay for it, right? No. So they want to make sure that they get revenues out of it, so they have to recycle it for real and make new cardboard out of it. Otherwise, they paid for nothing, right? So
that's incredible.
So those are kind of example, and then the second example is, putting, because of technology now, we can put QR codes everywhere. So those QR codes then link back to specific documentation, right? So you can link back to toxicity sheets and like MSDS sheets. So for those who don't know what MSDS is, data sheets that have all the safety information for, let's say there's a SDS sheet for your sunlight that you have at home, right? So you can go online, look for sunlight, and then see the toxicity level, and so we have those for every product. So now instead of having big binders with expired ones that you have to change every time,
nobody's even going to read at the end of the day.
Or you lost the sheet, or the sheets got ripped off, so now you have a QR code. Everyone has a cell phone, they see the latest and greatest, and it's updated as soon as the product changes.
So it's more accessible and more.
So you have more accessibility, more accurate information, and it's better for the environment because you don't have to
print all those binders.
And it was like something like 30,000 sheets, and then they're printed here, but they have to go across the country. So now you're
shipping it.
Shipping. So you're saving, like, there's a sustainability component to this example, right? So we're slowly getting into the future.
That's brilliant. So I'll move away from the, more the industry and that kind of stuff. I want to hear a little bit more. You're the head of strategic sourcing, right? You're very far up in your career. I want to get more into, so the career advice, the talent development. A lot of young industry professionals, they'll either listen to the show, they'll look up to somebody like you. I'd like to touch on that a little bit.
So I would say it's interesting because from my perspective, I'm still at the beginning of my career, right? Like there's still, it's like this mountain, you climb up the mountain and you say, oh, there's a bigger mountain there. And
you only see what's next. You don't see what's behind.
And so I would say kind of key themes is be curious, right? Be curious in your role, be curious in everyone surrounding you role. Like, what are your colleagues doing? What is the person beside you is working on, right? It could be completely different. It could be in accounting for all it matters. It doesn't matter. Like, just understanding what's driving them. Enhance your networking. Go to corporate events. Go to industry events. If not to learn something from those events and bring it back to your organization, just a networking opportunity, learning, connecting with individuals. I've been very fortunate that, call it fortunate, unfortunate, but I've been in an organization where key departments exploded, and then it gave me the opportunity to know 300 people, lost their job, which at the moment was awful. But they all landed somewhere else, right? And now you have this network of people that you know and appreciated working with that are in 10, 20 companies, different companies, right?
So you'll expand even into those networks now.
Yeah. So if someone asks me, hey, do you know someone there? Yes, I do know like 5 people there. And it's not, I'm not saying like, hey, you need to, connect with 500 people every day. That's not the point, but it's, showing up at work to do the best that you can, and be curious, and make sure that you manage efficiently your network.
Right.
And then,
so network, you would say, is key, like going out, meeting more people.
Like I'll give the example of my master's degree. I would say the majority of the MBA program is networking. It's not the content of your accounting books. Is
who you meet while reading.
Who you meet while you do your MBA, right? And how do you show up in those conversations, right? If you're the slacker of the team, potentially you could work with that person in the future. So you don't want to be seen as the slacker of the team, but you don't want to be the one that does the work for everyone else, right?
Absolutely.
So there's a balance to be struck. But all of those people had a lot of ambition within my group, and they all became, vice presidents, senior directors. So it really helps your network grow. Again, it's a network effect. Right.
That's brilliant. So if you were 25 again and entering this space now, where would you focus? Where would you focus first? Would it be skills, experience? Like, how do you prioritize that?
Well, I wouldn't have such a bad shoulder there, so that'd be great to be 25 again. But no, I would say be very at that age. That's the time to work on projects, on stretch assignment, on learning as much as you can. Right. What you learn in school does not apply in your corporate role. What it does, it gives you the tools to learn faster. When you go into those roles, you don't know anything, but then you're going to learn very quickly because you have the basic skills that were given to you through your education. So I would say really be curious and invest time in learning new skills within your organization, and really learning how corporate world works, right? I always make the joke of I've seen a commercial on this where you have this guy that's getting walked around the office, his new employee, and they show him how the photocopy machine works, and he's like, wow, I have an MBA, right? So the person's like, right. So you press on the green button there, and so, but, be humble, and that's going to drive your curiosity, and it's going to drive your learnings, and, mentorship is very important. Find your mentors, if you don't have mentors, get one, and whether it's through watching podcasts but it's also trying within your organization, ask people how they're doing their job, how they've been successful, and your curiosity will then drive them to share information with you and give you trade tricks and help you within your personal career.
What do you look for in sort of a key player? Like when you look at your superstars on your team, what do you really look for in that type of person?
So I try to not be too biased, right? And have I like analytics. So I'm trying to not. If someone's not an analytics, I'm not going to be like, oh no, no. It's understand the individuals, what drives them, what motivates them, and then if they can deliver what they say they can deliver.
Right.
Like, I'd rather have someone on my team that shows up with a smile, gives their 100%, and even if it's 70% of what I'm asking, I'm happy.
They gave their all in it.
They give it all, right? And if they don't have it and they're just delivering 60%, but they want to get trained and they want to grow and they want someone that wants, then that's a keeper, right? That's, you can train someone to learn new skills, but if they have the wrong attitude, it's over, right? So I know it sounds cliche, but
absolutely not.
But this is for real. I mean, the employees that have been most successful within my team, that grew within their careers, have been the one that wanted to learn more, that want stretch assignments, that can deliver, and they show up every day, and that's it.
It's funny you mentioned it. May sound cliche, but that's almost like a key theme that I hear. If you ask people at the top of the industry, or even listening to podcasts, whatever it may be, they all more or less say the same thing, and it's not necessarily cliche. But it's also such an important aspect of the whole equation.
And you see it right away. I mean, we have fantastic team members within our organization, and the ones that are super successful and have been demonstrating every day that they come in and they want to give their 100%, and they've been curious, they're reaching out, they want feedback, and it really depends on which point they are in their career, right? Of course, but I would say for when they come in within the industry, I don't want to say come in fearless, but come in with an open mind, right? And that's been very helpful for a lot of our employees.
That's incredible. What all right, so I guess I'll sort of wrap things up by looking forward, future outlook. What are you most excited about in the future of the industry?
That's there's a lot of things to be excited about. I would say there's going to be multiple shifts within the industry over the next 5 to 10 years. Whether it's a generational shift, we're seeing a lot of expertise and experts retiring, right? So there's this whole cohort of knowledge that's about to be transitioned off to the next generation, right? So that's going to be a major change. There's resiliency not just on, how do we mitigate upcoming risk and upcoming events, but natural risk, right? So where we used to have a forest fire once in a blue moon, now it's part of our mitigation strategy. It's on there's a forest fire season, right? So how facility management is going to evolve in that space. How this is going to be exciting to see how we build new buildings. How do we landscape differently so that not everything goes to flame, right? So how do we manage water usage? So there's going to be, and how do we have more sustainable products that are coming in the market? How do we make sure that supply chains are going to be impacted because of all the geopolitics that are happening right now? So it might create different supply chains, different lines of supply chain, right? So how do we manage all this? It's going to be exciting. So
that's brilliant. And then, what's next for you personally and professionally? What are you shooting for?
Shooting for the stars, and then we'll see what happens. No, but seriously, I would say, like I said, sometimes you look up front and you you just pass the hill and there's the rest of the mountain, right? I think there's such tremendous opportunity within that space. Want to make sure that, we make the best out of it. But at the same time, I would say it's a balance between career and family, right? And make sure that I have enough time during the day to see my sons, which sometimes when I'm working from home, I call them the coworkers because they show up on screen and, we've all seen those videos. Or they want a paper to color and they want to print it. But it's so I have 2 young kids, and I just want to make sure that I'm also there for them. That's going to be the next exciting part of the journey.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Pierre. I mean, this was incredible. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on.
No.
This has been an experience. This has been brilliant.
Good. Well, glad I could come and happy to contribute to your podcast.
All right. Thank you very much.